Let's talk a little bit about, you've got a big DC story coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I got 5 pages that I was able to do in the upcoming Harley Quinn Valentine's special, or the recently released, if that's whenever this is coming out. Basically, it's 5 pages. It's like a little mini story within the broader story of the special, and it's a dream sequence that Bruce Wayne is having, where he is basically in a nightmare that he is married to Harley Quinn.
It's the funniest nightmare I've ever looked at, because those pages are really fantastic work. Like, it's really cool to see that level of texturing and, you know, the detail that you bring to your art, to bring that to superheroes. It gives it a whole different flavor. And you were saying when we were looking at the pages, you haven't really done comedy so much.
No, I've never
You're
done.
a natural at it.
Thanks. Those were so I had 2 major reservations, or I don't say reservations, but worries whenever I was offered to do this. Number one was, this is humorous and kind of shticky and a little slapsticky, and I was like, I've never done humor before, so I really don't understand how my work is going to fit in with this. And I knew the style of Harley Quinn; it's more cartoony, and I was just like, oh man, I think this might be a train wreck. And then of course the second one was I have to draw the Batmobile, and drawing vehicles is, you know, it not necessarily something I can't do. I mean,
you do a lot of it in the Uncanny.
Yeah, I do draw a lot of vehicles, but you know, they're a pain in the ass. But the vehicles I draw are like real world vehicles, whereas the Batmobile is like something crazy, you know, that doesn't exist. And it's the Batmobile that currently exists is not any of the Batmobiles that have existed before. There's no reference for it other than what exists in the comic, and obviously I can't copy. I'm not going to copy anyone else's work, and you know, there's no toys of this Batmobile or anything. So I was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is going to be hard, and at the end, both came out awesome. Like, I'm super proud of how both of those things that I was so worried about turned out.
Especially with the finishing touch of the guano splatters.
The bat shit. Yeah.
We call it guano.
Guano. Yeah.
The technical term.
Yeah. The guano. Jimmy Palmiotti was very insistent that it was lots of guano.
That came through loud and clear. That seemed nightmarish for sure.
Yeah, and that ended up being the probably the most tedious aspect of the whole thing. Basically, to get the back guano effect, I would take a paint pen, like this little guy right here, and it's the kind that you push down and it releases the paint. And so I would make a little bead of paint on the page. And of course, this is a huge leap of faith, because if I screw this up, I just totally effed my original artwork. And so so I put a dot of paint, and then I have a can of air with the straw connected, and then I would slowly, like, just ever so gently blow the air onto the paint, so that it would spray the paint like a bat crap splatter.
Did you consider digital composite just in case it went bad, like trying it on a different sheet and combining the two or something?
I did some tests that way, but I realized that ultimately I was just going to have to do it on the drawing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get... because I had to kind of contour it as it dripped down the sides of the Batmobile and the fenders and the front. So I knew I just had to take the leap and just hope, cross my fingers, and it ended up coming out really well.
Yeah, well, it's awesome that it worked out.
Yeah. But you know, like what I think I'm most proud about it at the end of the day is, I mean, Batman and Harley Quinn came out really well. I've never done superhero comics before.
Well, hopefully we'll see more of that out of you, because It's nice. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, if I get opportunities in the future, I mean, it would be cool. I really like drawing the superheroes.
If you could draw anybody, who would it be, character-wise?
I really like Batman was super fun to draw. But you know, like, I have certain, like, bucket list characters that are at some point I want to draw these characters.
Yeah, who would those be?
Captain America.
Oh, yeah.
And now Captain America is not necessarily because of my love of the character. I mean, in high school, I didn't collect a lot of Captain America. I was totally an X-Men kid in high school. And Wolverine was my character. But the reason why I would like to draw Captain America, even if it was just like one issue or whatever, is because of the company that I would be in terms of artists.
Steve Epting.
Steve Epting, you have Mitch Breitweiser, and you know, all these other illustrators who especially Steve Epting, redefined the whole look of Captain America, and took it back to this place that feels really nostalgic for me in terms of like Silver Age and Golden Age comics, but even mid-century illustration. You know, it's this very realistic kind of style that I think that like my work is very akin to, and I think a lot of my influences kind of reflect that, and I think it would be really cool to be in that company.
Beyond Captain America.
Beyond Captain America, Wolverine is a character I would like to draw. I mean, they've killed him, so I don't know what they're going to do.
He'll be back in a year.
Yeah, he'll be back. Like, I think Wolverine, I'd like to draw Wolverine, like even again, like if it was just like a one-shot or whatever, just because I loved that character so much in high school. I mean, like he was my jam.
But then beyond Wolverine and Cap?
Well, like I said, Batman is an all-time favorite.
Cross that one off.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get to draw any, like Batman in super action,
right?
Like fighting the Joker and stuff. But
there's definitely still some room there.
Yeah. I don't know how my style would fit, but my favorite comic book of all time, the book that I still hold as basically the pinnacle of the comic book art form, is Hellboy.
Oh, okay, I thought you were going to say Kamandi for some reason.
Yeah. Though Kamandi would be an awesome one to draw.
Yeah.
Like, I love that stuff too. That is quintessential classic comics, Kamandi. But Hellboy, for me, like he hits all of my interests.
Mm-hmm.
He hits the occult stuff. He hits the kind of quirky humor, that like the deadpan like humor. It's just great. I mean, it's great writing. It's simple. It's direct.
Are you into the BPRD as well then?
Yeah, I am. Not as much as Hellboy, but I think that's more to do with my limited time that I have to read comics.
So you haven't read all 130 issues of whatever they have so far?
No. But it's something that I like to. I like BPRD. It's in the same wheelhouse. I would say, like, I don't see myself ever being asked to draw anything in Hellboy because my style is so different. But
BPRD
I think
actually
BPRD
would fit.
I think I could do BPRD. There's some really cool properties that Dynamite's picked up, like Solar, Man of the Atom, and Magnus Robot Fighter.
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved Magnus Robot Fighter. My grandma had this old copy of Magnus Robot Fighter comic. That comic was from the 60s, I think.
Oh, okay.
So, and it was one of the really old ones where like the robots were all just like cylinders connected with like rubbery kind of arms, and it's Magnus just punching robots.
So if Dynamite asked you to do a Magnus book next, you'd kind of be into that, or?
I'd totally be into Magnus, or even doing covers. I'd love to do Magnus covers and Solar covers. I love that old like pulp science fiction stuff.
Totally.
I like to stretch my creative muscle too. I've been drawing a lot of plainclothes stuff for a long time, and
it'd be nice to go.
I would like to try. I'd like to try something that's outside that wheelhouse.
But it is cool, like in the Batman pages, Bruce Wayne's house, there's like elements that feel as real as what you were doing in Sherlock. It's like could be connected to the same manner or something.
I mean, like I would never be able to divorce myself from that sense of realism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in that sense, I think I've got a lot in common with people like I don't know, Alex Ross and stuff in terms of the way that they approach the realism of the comic book medium.